What's up? It's your boy Swossus Bailey, aka Keelet, aka Gator, and we're back with another video. We're in Greenville, South Carolina for the Southeast ACSM conference. So that's American Council of Sports Medicine. Gonna go look at some posters, hear some people talk, learn some good new stuff that's going around in the fitness and sports condo world. So yeah, let's have fun, let's learn some stuff, and we'll see y'all there.
That category. Diuretics is an interesting one because diuretics isn't even a performance enhancing drug. Nobody has ever really thought that diuretics are performance enhancing. They are used for one of two reasons. The first reason would be if you are in a weight class sport, it is an awful lot easier to cut water weight than it is to cut fat weight. The most commonly used drug that athletes are being taught to take. It's not even close. It's 47%. It's almost half of them. And then a split. You guys were partially right. Diuretics you thought were going to be popular. I guess that's third on the list. And then everything else is pretty minimal. They did lose a little bit of fat-free mass. Now let's go right to the big number, 600. They gained 8. This is kilos. The importance of it with regards to the test is that it is created on a 1-to-1 ratio with testosterone. So when your body is making testosterone, it makes an equivalent amount of epitestosterone. So, clever scientists figured this out. They can essentially use epitestosterone as a proxy for natural testosterone. Because if you injected exogenous testosterone, this ratio would shoot up. Right? And you would say have a 6-to-1 ratio. And thus we know your body didn't make 6-to-1, your body makes 1-to-1. You must have received that testosterone.
So what I learned from that presentation is that there's probably more people taking banned substances than are actually getting caught because of all these ways that you can actually cheat the test, what he was going through. One of them, which I found really interesting, was if you have this gene, what is it? UGT2B17. It's a gene that if it's turned off, then you don't metabolize testosterone. So think about it this way: if you're not metabolizing, getting rid of that testosterone, all that exogenous testosterone that you're taking in is staying in your body, so it's not gonna mess up your testosterone to epitestosterone ratio, which is what these drug tests test for, to see if you're cheating or not. So if you have that gene, you can take steroids and you'll pass the test pretty much. Another test that they do is they test for carbon-13, because real test has carbon-13, fake test doesn't. So they look for that. And then next was the keynote speaker, Dr. Sarah Wilcox. And before that, they introduced the at-large board members, one of which was my former professor, Dr. Samuel Buckner over at USF. And he actually got elected by the end of the weekend, so congrats to him. And on to the next presentation.
You will select 3 member at-larges for this year, and then the next year we will get to our stand-up, please.
Yeah.
Tonight, I have the unique honor of introducing your keynote speaker. Dr. Sarah Wilcox is a clinical psychologist and professor in the Department of Exercise Science at the University of South Carolina's Arnold School of Public Health.
Clinical settings face a similar challenge. And then I want to talk about 3 recommended strategies to address this challenge. And there are things that I've been trying to put into place in my research. I'm going to highlight examples from one line of research that I've done, which has been with churches, to kind of illustrate what some of those strategies have looked like.
All right, so Dr. Wilcox, her area of expertise was promoting physical activity out in the community. and her kind of intervention was in the church, right? So these church leaders are pretty influential, and a lot of people listen to them. So if you can get these leaders, what she was saying is if you can get these leaders to promote healthy living, physical activity, then you can affect the community at a greater scale than just like personal trainer going one by one or a strength coach doing team by team. So I thought that was really interesting. Day 2, bright and early. Let's get it. Lots of stuff going on.
Anyway, would all the fellas stand up, because I think you need to be recognized. Just our fellows, ACSM fellows.
So what I liked about the mentor breakfast is that you got to sit down with a lot of people from different backgrounds, different areas in their journey, undergrad, graduate, professional, professors, all that kind of thing. And you just got to talk and see what they enjoyed about their area and then what they're looking forward to in the future. So got to make really great connections there.
Which was consistent from a study in 2013 that said 1 in 3 college students has a diagnosable mental health challenge. Compared to that general population, they are actually less likely to even want to seek treatment for their conditions. To get an idea of kind of the prevalence in this, a study was done in 2008.
These individuals also tend to have an increased athletic identity because they spend a majority of the time developing this athletic identity and identifying with it. It may also explore less careers. They just want to continue to be in their sports career and not move outside of the athletic.
This presentation that these ladies talked about was athlete identity, right? And that's really important to me because I want to be a collegiate strength coach, a high school wrestling coach when it's all said and done. So it's really important for me to know how I can identify the different types of athletes I have to help them, 1, be successful in the field of play, and 2, be successful out in real life. So they talked about how, like you saw, high athletic identity, more successful, but harder to transition into regular life and vice versa. So I found that really interesting.
And next we have Enrique Moreno. Just go ahead and take it away.
My name is Enrique from the USF Muscle Laboratory. Today I will present some recent work where we examined skeletal muscle adaptations to high-load training with pre-exercise blood flow restriction. Within the literature, blood flow restriction, or BFR, is most commonly applied with low-load resistance training protocols and has demonstrated to increase muscle size similar to high-load resistance training. Despite growing in popularity in recent years, there appears to be no scenario in which applying BFR is necessary to induce muscle growth, at least in healthy individuals. And we utilized a within-between subject model where 40 individuals had each of their arms randomized to complete 1 of 3 elbow flexion by conditions. And the first in which was a traditional high-load training group, which performed 4 sets of as many repetitions as possible with a load corresponding of 70% of 1 RM. Our second condition was our low repetition high-load training group, which performed 4 sets of 3 repetitions at 70% of 1 RM. And we suggested that this stimulus would be insufficient to induce muscle growth, as individuals may be training further away from failure. In an attempt to augment the muscle growth response to this condition, we created our third condition, which included applying pre-exercise blood flow restriction at 80% arterial occlusion pressure for 3 minutes prior to the onset of exercise and throughout the protocol itself. And the rationale behind this was essentially we wanted to pre-fatigue the muscle and allow these 3 repetitions to be an effective 3 repetitions towards inducing muscle growth. And what we found was we have here represented changes in muscle thickness at 50, 60, and 70% muscle thickness sites of the elbow flexor. And what we found was essentially the traditional high-load training group was the only group that experienced robust muscle hypertrophy. And this is often corroborated within the literature in both untrained and trained individuals.
I'll start us off with a question. So, thinking of maybe like a more clinical population or older adults, do you see it as like a net positive that there was similar changes in strength, or are you more focused on muscle thickness being better with the traditional loading?
Initially, we were looking at whether or not it would be able to compensate and induce muscle growth, but being that neither the low rep traditional condition or the pre-exercise blood flow restriction condition experience changes in growth, it could be a situation where individuals could still augment strength and endurance despite not being able to induce muscle growth, if that makes sense.
Alright, I'm with my boy Enrique. He just presented a nice blood flow restriction poster. How do you think you did?
I think I did well.
He did.
Nerve-wracking.
He did awesome. Yeah, it was great. So give him like your 30-second elevator speech.
30-second elevator speech. Currently, blood flow restriction is often used with low loads. There's been in recent years a push to try to see if we could augment adaptations with high-load training. But with those studies, they've shown no added benefits of applying BFR, and we think it's possible because of providing an already sufficient stimulus. So we wanted to see whether or not blood flow restriction could augment adaptation in an insufficient growth stimulus. Unfortunately, we were unable to demonstrate any added benefits. The low repetition group did not grow, and there was no augmentation of the response in the pre-exercise blood flow restriction group.
That's it. Nice. Do you have the PubMed ID? They can look it up if they want to?
Not yet. It's in review.
Okay.
This paper's in review, but it should be getting dropped pretty soon.
All right.
Pretty soon.
Awesome. Yeah, as I said, he did great, and if this comes out after it's dropped, I'll put it in the description so y'all can look. We got support system here. Support system. All right, on to the next thing.
Okay? And I really hope that it's something that you carry forward with you, potentially forever. You might have a little competition with the Southwest Regional Chapter. Yeah. But then you also want to foster the good inputs, right? Because the ones that aren't used are going to get slowly pruned away, and you're going to end up with our lazy adult brains, and you're a little bit stuck with what you get at that point. And that's one of the reasons why it's harder to teach from verbal fluency, have difficulty on memory tests, matching figures, and memory searching. So breakfast in and of itself impacts learning, hunger impacts learning, and your diet overall impacts learning. So another study that was done in Ohio, but I have a picture of her eating buttered white bread with chocolate sprinkles on it for breakfast, because that's a Dutch thing. Does anybody know what hagelslag is? Yeah, okay, at least one person, 2 people. It really does improve blood flow to the brain. It really does wake up these processes, and it really does help facilitate learning. You probably all know what the hippocampus is, right? So I learned what the hippocampus was at the University of Georgia from Dr. Rod Dishman, and I never thought I would need to know what it was again for my entire life. You want to have a lot of connections. You want them to be really strong, and blood flow to the brain literally helps us happen. Now, fitness and memory are actually pretty closely entwined, and so this was a really fun study where we were just looking to see, well, do fitter kids have better memory than unfit kids, right?
So this presentation by Anastasia Fisher talked about kind of like the importance of diet and physical activity in developing children's brains, how breakfast kind of can be the most important meal of the day for children. I know it's kind of controversial, people saying it is or it isn't. But for children, she was saying that it improves cognition and retention. As long as you're eating in the morning, it can help improve your day, help improve your learning throughout the day, and then also exercise, physical activity can help also, which there have been studies on about how physical activity actually improves other other subjects in school, and she showed that it actually increases blood flow to the brain. So breakfast and exercise, important for development in children, yes or no? Something to think about, something to look into. Then on to the next one.
Quickly, they have to have good mobility, endurance, lower body power, upper body power, internal fitness to keep up with their occupational demands. However, if they're not occupationally ready, they're not going to be able to get to that next level of the pyramid. So they take home a lot of the
And that's it, and you're like, okay, all right. So, you know, that was a good thing. So we gave them a color within the lines type of program. I didn't want to take their flair away. Didn't want to take their individual coaching style. They really love to do the burpees. We just got to do it safely. Type of activities they need to do that. I just didn't want them running every day. So follow the program, adjust as needed. Everyone has different facilities, so we try to make it universal, but have some flexibility in there.
In their training programs to target those body abilities to better meet the demands of the year. In terms of the low back pain, we quantify low back stress. It's EMG work with them in their gear, out of gear, performing occupational tasks. And we were able to provide some physical training interventions to decrease low back pain while performing in gear.
And then what I really liked about this presentation is because it's kind of like, well, not kind of, it is where I'm at now as far as tactical strength and conditioning with, they're doing law enforcement, I'm doing the military. So just getting some extra knowledge and seeing what they do on that law enforcement side that I can incorporate into the military side. But pretty much being physically fit improved their performance. So who would have thought?
Regardless of whether this was noted before or after the exercise session, experienced lower positive well-being, higher psychological distress, and more fatigue than their male counterparts. And you can kind of see, I put the partially illustrated up here, the effect sizes are large for these. So these are large effect sizes between that in the collegiate student athlete population, which, as I said before, is underrepresented in this type of research. We did find that there were no gender differences in the response. So while positive mood is improved and negative mood is reduced, the amount of response is the same regardless of gender. And then we did also find supporting evidence to corroborate that NCAA report that females are reporting lower mood states than males. So what does that mean for us? That means a single resistance.
I really enjoy this presentation again, right? Because I want to be a future collegiate strength coach and then a sport coach. Knowing that these strength programs and working out, being physically active actually improves mood and helps the feelings of fatigue, as you saw, is really nice to know that I can incorporate that not only to help my athletes in the field of play, but also in all other facets of life. For like all the other presentations pretty much are saying the same thing, staying physically active. Staying physically active can help you in all facets of life. So great presentation.
Which will increase the fuel demands for non-locomotive muscles that will move you during exercise. And there is also potential for metabolic reflex and respiratory muscles, which, as mentioned earlier, will alter the blood flow to locomotive muscles. There's also going to be a reduction in VO2 max, which will increase the relative intensity. So therefore, for our study, our purpose was to determine the effects of load carriage in normoxia and hypoxia on fuel metabolism below. To investigate the effects of hypoxia, we demonstrated similar relative carbohydrate percentages and a reduced absolute carbohydrate reduction, or reduced absolute carbohydrate oxidation at the same relative intensity. There's also an increased relative carbohydrate oxidation and absolute oxidation at the same absolute intensity. And there's also an increased blood lactate hypoxia. Thus, it can be determined that maintaining carbohydrate availability is crucial for personnel operating in high altitude environments. This is especially important when matching for walking speed with unloaded or loaded anoxic conditions.
And the final presentation, again, was another tactical strength study, this time with soldiers, and just who would have thought, like, when you're a soldier, law enforcement officer, or any kind of athlete, I put that in quotes, because anybody that does physically demanding activity, athlete for a sport, law enforcement, firefighter, whatever, the more physically fit you are, the better you are at your job. So just drives home the point that we all need to be physically fit, no matter what we're doing. And then next, the end of the day was more poster presentations that I unfortunately didn't get a lot of video of because one, my phone died and I was just so like consumed with all the information. I was really focused on just talking with these preventers and getting to know more about them and their research that I just didn't think to get video, but excuse me. It was great nonetheless, and then I also interviewed a few people just to see what their thoughts on the conference were. I asked them 2 quick questions. First one was what they enjoyed most about the conference, and the second one was why more people should come to the conference next year, the next conference, wherever it is. So that's what you'll see. First question I grouped together, and then the second question you'll see after that.
So far to me, I've really enjoyed connecting and meeting with some of the other students from the universities, seeing the areas of research that they're involved in, just sort of connecting on similarities of our interests, seeing what they want to pursue in the future. That's been really cool just to connect with other students, meet other people who have similar interests, and kind of just like really see the field of exercise science, what it's all about, because this is a new thing for me this year, being a first-year graduate student. So
my favorite part is I always come in with an open mind and just kind of seeing what active research is being talked about, what's being looked into. I love being here with my classmates and just being able to go back to our Airbnb and kind of discuss what we've learned, what we've taken away. And since I work in the field, it's cool to take a practical perspective with all of this and see what active research can be applied to like what we're really doing with our clients and with our athletes if you work with athletes, and just kind of brainstorming, seeing where I personally want to go with my professional career and potentially with my academic career as well.
Favorite part, I would say, is the poster presentations, just because you can walk around, say what up to people, basically choose a poster you like and talk to them, ask as many questions as you want, and really get to know the person and the topic. And it's really informative, honestly. You can learn like 10, 15 topics, ask as many questions, and everyone's super nice, super friendly, and yeah, I really learned a lot.
The people, man. Just getting to hang out with all my classmates, the first year master's students, second year master's students, and to catch up with people from undergrad too. It's a chance just to see everybody again, which is pretty good.
My favorite part about this conference is meeting up with all the students and professors that you've met throughout the years. And this conference is kind of uniquely designed that it's small enough that you can get a lot of one-on-one time with people that you want to talk to. When I was a student, I met a lot of professors, and they actually gave me time to have discussions to learn about what they do. And then now as a professor, I have time to talk to students, meet new students who are interested in our program at USF, and then introduce my students at USF to professors who they might want to eventually work with. So kind of the networking and the social aspect of just the scientific community is really awesome here.
Into more so, we're never going to know everything, and things always change. So I think it's also for continuing education. That's another reason I like to come here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, why aren't you here? That's the real question.
Hey, true.
If you're trying to learn, trying to get better, and you love health and fitness, just general anything about health, you got to come. ACSM is very broad, so it's for everyone. It's for the gains, it's for the health, it's for everything. So I would recommend it 100%. And you know, if they have different conferences, so whichever conference you can make, hit them up. You know, you have a good time. Maybe rent an Airbnb, get a workout in, come here, drink some free coffee, and
all kinds of stuff to do, huh?
Easy money.
Same reason, the people. Whether it's the people that you're with or people that you don't know, anytime you read research and you see these names, you see these, people, you have no idea who they are. This is putting names to faces. You get to see the personality behind it and meet the authors to your textbooks, things like that, and really get to hear their perspectives on how they do what they do and why they do. It helps make you better at reading and deciphering.
Potential future board member, because I may not win. But either way, whether I win or not, the conference gets better every year. We listen to feedback and try to make improvements where we can. I guess there's always great speakers. If I do get onto the board, I'll take feedback that I get from y'all that are here. And just try to put on the best conference we can. I've been on the board before as a student rep. So I know the experience of creating student-centered activities.
And then I interviewed one of the presenters, Takoris Newsom, on his research. I thought he would have a pretty unique perspective on the conference as a whole because he was a presenter, not just like somebody coming to look at all the stuff. So I put his full interview there, and he talks a little bit about his research at the end.
All right, I'm here with Takoris at the Southeast ACSM meeting. Takoris was a presenter, so he presented his research, so he has a unique perspective on the meeting. So first off, tell us what your favorite part about the meeting has been so far.
It's definitely the opportunity to just meet so many people, so many like-minded people. Aside from that, there's so many different topics that you aren't even aware of, and so many different areas of study. And it's just really a fun environment. You make great connections, and it's definitely an experience that you just have to get to experience. It's amazing.
And why should people come to the next one? I guess you already answered that one, but why should they come?
Definitely for the professional development. I find that in settings like these, it can be so intimidating coming into it, and then you get here, you get to networking and meeting people, and you realize that you definitely belong in a setting like this. There's no reason to feel intimidated because of these settings, and you get here, you belong, you realize that you belong, and it's so fun to be in such an environment with people who think similar to you and who are doing other things that may give you an idea or may interest you in something else.
Nice. And then tell us a little bit about your research that you presented today.
Yeah, so I presented on barrel reflex sensitivity, which is really just a measure of cardiovagal tone. And so basically I just did a quick simple study that basically showed that there was no difference in attenuation of barrel reflex between the races, but when you combine the group, there was a difference. But it showed that orthostasis does influence attenuation of barrier reflex sensitivity. So it's a quick, simple study.
Nice. And then where can people find it? Has it been published already?
It has not been published yet. It's in the works. Today, it was kind of like a preliminary thing. I only have 18 subjects for this study. It's kind of a secondary paper, so we're kind of refining that paper right now. It'll be out by the summer, I hope so.
Awesome. Thank you. Look forward to hearing that, reading that.
Thank you.
And so, sorry about the squeaky chair, but all in all, I really enjoyed this this conference. It was a lot of fun, a little nerve-wracking, I'm not gonna lie, when I first walked in, but I settled in really quickly, had a lot of fun. Everybody was very welcoming. I feel like I learned quite a bit, and then also reaffirmed some of my thoughts that about fitness in general before I came in there, so it's good to know that I'm on the right track, and then adding some stuff to my repertoire as we go along. So again, I hope somebody learned something from this like I did, and then if you can go to the next ACSM conference, whether it's Southeast, whether it's the national one, or your personal region, I encourage you to go, and I hope I can see you at the next one. All right, y'all have a good one. Peace.